All right, here we go. Poor old Impulse here. It's copping a hammering. So, anyway, it's got a undercarriage here has been bent like a banana. Some recent, not ideal landings, let's say. Imagine trying to play pool with a cue stick like that. Anyway, the way it works is, these aluminium undercarriages, I've got to say, never been a big fan of aluminium on an undercarriage. I like spring steel myself. But anyway, the way it works is that leg there slots in to the engine mount, typical sort of scenario, and then a bolt goes right through there and holds it in. And of course, it's been bent, splayed outwards and backwards, so it's that's rooted. But you can see with sort of the design, it's tapered by some machining. It's hollow, but, you know, well, partly hollow. But anyway, it's shit, and it's done. So we built a new one. Let's have a look at the new one, what I've got concocted here. All right, so here's the new setup laying on the floor. So what we've got, as you can see, there's the old ones there, which are just, as I said before, bent like a banana. So they're out. So what I did was I measured that. I built a new one out of thick wall chromoly steel. It's a very similar design to the Thorpe T18 undercarriage, where what you've got is on the outside you've got it's about a 1/8 wall chromoly steel tube, 1.5 inch, and then telescope in the inside of that. You slide it's 1.25 inch, again 1/8 wall thickness. It's been TIG welded at the top there. It's been chamfered at the bottom here, so it's been radiused in there, so it gives a bit of, you know, takes the stress reliever out. It's been cross drilled so it fits the fuselage as normal, and it just works beautifully because it turned out that the outside diameter of that machined aluminium just happened to be exactly 1.25 inch, and the outside diameter of the aluminium here where it bolts there was 1.5 inch. So it's just perfect. So we used the Thorpe T18 design. And of course this part here is going to work out well. They just slide off the old undercarriage which bolted on there. And they slide on there, you see. So once I've got the undercarriage set, I'll set my my camber and toe. And I'll drill through, spot through, and that should be good. Same on the other side. So that'll make a nice brand new chromoly steel undercarriage, and I think if they were to bend that, you'd be tearing the engine mount out of the plane. But that should be 100% better. All right, there you go. All right, so here we have the propeller that's all been repaired. The gas burner's in here, so it's a bit noisy, and I've also got an extraction fan going there. But the propeller's been put in base coat. That's a metallic silver base coat, and then from there, once that's got a little bit more cured, we'll put our top coats on. Then I'll finish with the decals on the tips, and then the anti-glare black on the back face, but it should come up nice. You'll see the difference between the base coat metallic silver and what it looks like when the 2K clear coat goes on. So I'll show you that a little later. Alrighty, so we've got the Glenn's propeller all repaired, repainted and masked, ready for the tips. So the way the prop's been prepared is a metallic silver base coat with 2K clear over everything, then a flat black, matte black back face to stop the reflection, and now finally putting the white tips on. So we'll spray them on now, and that should look good. So I'll take the masking off shortly. All right, things starting to get exciting here. Got the whole team on. I got Dave and Rodney and myself. Tony will be here, but he knocks off pretty early. Let's have a look in here. What do we got? So I've got the tailwheel mechanism in. And look at that. Hey Dave, just come in for a sec, mate. Just pull on those cables there, those cable ties, and just so we can see what's going on in here. You can see the mechanism in there. Grab both those and cycle it backwards and forwards, Dave. Look at that, beautiful. And down here, go Dave, yep. Keep going, yep, beautiful. All right, so you see what happens. Get a focus on in there. You get the teetering, the track link there in position. Bit hard to see because I'm struggling with the light here a bit. There you go. That's it, mate. Up the top, Dave. So if we pull that spring out of the way, oops. Pull that left spring out of the way there. Oh, fuck, wrong one, that one. Yeah, that's it. You can see how it works. Pull the light back a bit, Dave. That's it. That's good there. Rotate it around. That's it. That's it. That's better. Yeah, so as the undercarriage goes up and down, as the tailwheel goes up and down, that track link there keeps it all tracking, or the cam tracking straight, and while allowing it to teeter, because it's actually a track link, so it's got a double joint in it that articulates. And if you see in here, if I can find it, up in there, Dave. See, we've got two nice. Look at that. You see you got your rubber donuts in there. See that? This nice Rotec engine mount donuts, much more solid than those pathetic bits of foam, which were just collapsing. So now we've got the undercarriage, all that travel there. So yeah. You've got lots of, your rubbers are hard on it now, so as soon as that drops, it'll sink a little bit, but you'll have lots of travel, and you won't be able to bottom it out because you won't be physically able to crush the rubbers that far. Got the tail wheel on. So that's all done, looking good, and it just gets better because we've got all your parts painted. Got the legs back on, the cowl back on, and Rodney's just battling fitting the fairings on, which need a little bit of adjustment, but we're getting there. How they looking, Rodney?
Yeah, nearly. Just about to put it up for the final.
Oh, you're not in position.
Don't move it.
Okay.
It's not screwed on.
All right, so we're just fitting them now.
Watch this tool.
And then the last bit is your propeller, which is probably the best bit of the lot. And there she is, looking great. Look at that. Metallic silver and 2K clear with white tips. And on the back of the propeller, we've got black matte, again with the white safety tips. And that's now dry, but we won't bolt it on probably until tomorrow or the next day. Looks great. So yeah, she's getting pretty close. One of the final things I want to do, I do have to touch up the paint under the wing. I've filled it and sanded it smooth, but still needs to be filled. Have a look under there. Let's see where, there. So it's ready to paint. Just touch it up. Dave and I are putting the rudder on now. And the last thing I want to do is the two buttons on the control sticks there. I want to swap them out the same as the Kit Fox and put a forward, reverse, spring off, forward on, back on, spring to the middle. And the way I do it in the Kit Fox is I have the same micro air radio and I pull backwards for intercom, and either passenger or pilot can pull back an intercom, and either passenger or pilot can push forward for communication with the outside, with other aeroplanes, ATC. So pull back to intercom, release, goes back to off, push forward, and you transmit. So that'll save us using that one single switch there, which is a bit awkward. I think from there we'll have quite a usable aeroplane. All right, that's all. All right, things progressing well on Glenn's Impulse 300 after its landing mishap which bent the undercarriage. It's seen us make a new chromoly undercarriage using the Thorpe T18 design, and that's looking really good now. So we're just after repairing the wheel spats. See, Rodney's putting on some new anchor nuts, and all the spats have been repaired and repainted, and likewise the leg fairing, which we're just fitting now. And these things here are where the holes are. So what you can do is when you put the fairing up, you can flap them over the fairing and then drill your holes through. So we're just fitting that side now. This side's already done and all attached, ready to go. You can see the new chromoly leg just in there. That's nice. That's 1/8 wall chromoly telescoped inside another tube. So the outside diameter is 1.25 inches and the inside diameter is, so the inside diameter is 1.25 inches and the outside is 1.5 inches, and they fit inside, they're designed to fit inside each other. It's chromoly thick wall tube, both sides. You see it's been sort of welded there where the splice is, that's where it sleeves over itself. Goes through the leg there. So that's all looking good. The engine's getting oil topped off and coolant check, spark plugs for an engine run. You see we've got our brand new propeller all repaired and painted. Had some delamination of the composite skin on the trailing edge, so we fixed that. That all looks repainted and repaired. The back's got black, matte black finish for anti-reflection. Got the white tips on there for safety, and that's a metallic base coat with 2K clear over it. It's a strategy, painting strategy I've been using since my model aeroplane days. Looks good, I think. So we're coming together. Spinner's repainted, that's going on now. The tail wheel was a bit of an effort. Hey Rodney, just bounce on that tail wheel and show the suspension. Hey Rodney, got a second? No. Just bounce on the lower part, the rear part of the fuselage, show the tail wheel. Suspension. Yep, that's good. So what we've got in there now is, thanks Rodney, that's perfect. What we've got in there now is the tail wheel assembly's been completely rebuilt with a new system, new mechanics. So, and we've removed those old, basically foam pads which were doing nothing, and we've replaced them with Rotec Jabiru engine mount rubbers, which have been modified and stacked inside the tail there. So they're a lot firmer and they won't collapse. But more importantly is the locking system's been replaced. We took the cam and locking section of an RV tail wheel and actually mounted it inside the fuselage, so that the internal cam and unlocking system actually happens on the kingpin inside the fuselage, and there's a track rod, much like you see on the nose wheel of a large aeroplane, to keep the alignment of the cam. It's a bit complicated to describe, but it works well. And more importantly, it positively locks and positively unlocks, which is something it didn't do before. Had a very crude arrangement before using a preloaded dog clutch and spring, which was useless. This is now a positive action that relies on rotation of movement to unlock, like a traditional unlocking tail wheel. So that should be good. I can't see any reason why this plane won't be pushed outside and ran today, and possibly even flown. The weather is good. So as long as the engine runs properly and everything, I'll take it for some taxi runs, make sure all the brakes are working and everything, and then from there we might take it for a buzz. We'll see how we go. Yeah, very pleased with that propeller, and I think once that spinner's on, she's going to really pop. All right, the propeller's been safetied now, lock wide, so let's get the spinner on. Well, just landed after taking our glorious Impulse 300 here for a fly, and that's after having the new undercarriage rebuilt with chromoly instead of aluminium legs, which were bent. Completely overhauled tail wheel with new RV style locking mechanism, repainting of all the fairings and bits and pieces, and a whole host of other small things on. Of course, the pier resistance is the spinner and the prop, which I think look absolutely magnificent. Look at that. And so I balanced the prop yesterday. Actually, the spinner had a lot of added lead to it on one side, and some of that had to be removed. So there's actually less lead on it now than there was before. That was after me repairing, filling, epoxy, priming, and repainting the prop. Some of the protective fiberglass had delaminated the trailing edge. That won't happen again. Yeah, she went like a dream. No problem at all. The undercarriage performed flawlessly. Didn't even know the difference. I could tell the difference on tracking and landing. It seemed to go just dead straight. So before it had all sorts of bends and toe out and camber out and trailing back too far, and it was all over the shop. The caster was out because the legs were all bent. So now they're straight, and you can tell a telltale on this aircraft when you know there's been some yield of the undercarriage is when this fairing here starts to not meet the fuselage. And you can see after the last landing I did, which take it from me, was a nice smooth landing, there's nothing. And even the little bit of tape down here, nothing. So any excessive flex in the undercarriage or yield would permanently distort that fairing, which is what was happening before you could drive your fingers through the gap. It was so bad. That's how I knew that some damage had been done to the undercarriage, because that fairing just didn't fit. But anyway, it all went well. Very pleased with that. Nice aeroplane, just goes along. Had no issues with the engine at all. So I'll take the cowls off next and check it one last time, and everything's good. Now, the only other thing I want to do is, you can see on that control stick there, I'm not sure if you can see through the canopy or not, maybe you can. You can see the buttons flopped out. That's okay, because that suits me. I've got to take the other one out, because what I'm going to do is put a forward to transmit, pull back to intercom two-way switch, because this microwave doesn't have an intercom, and the intercom that it did have failed. And on my own aircraft, I just used a two-way switch, which is a manual intercom. So I'm going to put those two-way center off, forward on, back on for the intercom and transmission. Other than that, job's pretty much done. So Glenn, you should be happy it all went well. A bit windy today, so thankfully it was straight down the runway, which actually helped. I landed with the 2-stage of flaps, which is now the maximum amount of flap, and took off with just 1 stage. And as soon as I got to a decent height, I just get rid of the flap straight away. And she starts to get on the step and belts along. Anyway, I'm going to go home now and watch some footy.